Hello. It's been a while. No, I really apologize in my other video, which will actually probably be out after this one, so I'll go ahead and apologize again. I'm sorry that I haven't been around lately. Things have been rough. My mental health has been suffering. It was a lot. My house was out of control to the point that I could not film because I didn't have the space to, because it was just a disaster. As you can see, that's been taken care of, so now I have this permanently set up, so I have this nice background that I'm really excited about that. Anyway, it'll be another video. Today, what I want to talk to you about is something that I was a bit hesitant to talk about, but given the past couple of weeks and how difficult they've been for me, I just want to address this. I know I shouldn't feel embarrassed, but this is a topic that makes me feel kind of embarrassed. Mostly because I know that people I know and people I'm related to are gonna watch this, and there's this whole sort of idea that if you self-harm, it's because you want attention, or if you talk about self-harming, it's because you want attention. But it's funny, nobody knew that I self-harmed up until so recently as last year in November. I was self-harming until that recently, and not even Chase knew. And Chase knows me probably better than anyone and has seen more of me than anyone, because he was the only person I felt comfortable with when I was pre-op and when I was pre-T, and he didn't know, he didn't see. So I hate that we're not allowed to talk about this without it seeming like it's a cry for attention, or like we just do it because we want people to pay attention to us. It's like, nobody knew. So, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this. How I stopped self-harming was that, I mean, for starters, I had therapy. I went to therapy. Please go to therapy. But I sort of first had to understand why I was doing it, because I didn't understand. I was self-harming from the age of 12, and I didn't know why I was doing it, to be honest. I realized that self-harming, there were a lot of layers to it, but a big part of it was almost like it made me feel really strong. It was like if someone was trying to hurt me, or there was some outside situation that was causing me harm, it would sort of be like, you think that's bad? Watch what I could do to myself. It was sort of my way of feeling tough and feeling like I could handle anything, because if I could handle doing this, I could handle this amount of pain, I could handle anything. And it was also my way of making my pain real, which I know sounds really stereotypical, but it's like I wasn't doing it consciously. It was almost like it validated my feelings of suffering, because when you, let's say, break a leg, or you get cut, you get hurt, people see it and they're like, man, that's bad, that looks like it hurts, you're probably in a lot of pain. When you're struggling with your mental health and there's nothing you could point at and say, look how bad this is, look how much it hurts, it doesn't seem real and it doesn't seem valid. So I would hurt myself so that the pain that I was feeling inside felt like it was validated. It was like, look at this actual physical pain I'm in, look how bad this is. Even if people wouldn't actually see it, it was more like I would look at it. My interior dialogue was like, you know, I'm suffering, I don't feel okay. And then it would be like, oh, well, why don't you just choose to be happy and be an optimist and all this shit? And it's like, it doesn't work that way. So instead, I would inflict this harm on myself, and I would look at it and be like, man, it's pretty gnarly, that's pretty bad, it looks like it hurts. And then I'd be like, yeah, it does hurt. It's my emotional pain coming through in a physical way. So anyway, I'm not saying that it was right, I'm saying that I realized that's why I was doing it. It was my way of making things feel real, it was my way of making myself feel strong, and it was also my way of feeling like I was in control of something. Like I was taking this thing inside me that was causing me all this pain but felt like it didn't actually exist because it wasn't in the physical world, and turning it into something physical and something I could point at and be like, there, this is it, this is my pain, exists. Once I realized that, I tried a couple of different coping mechanisms, one of which was drawing on my body, which didn't work for me because it wasn't permanent. And I know self-harm, okay, this is gonna sound bad, like not everyone self-harms the same way, but for me, self-harm was permanent because it was a mark that was severe enough to leave a scar. So it was my way of making my suffering into something physical that would last. I don't know, anyway, so drawing on myself would only help for an instant, and then it wouldn't. So it took me a long time to realize what helped me, and I was making art anyway, but it was a specific kind of art that I realized helped me. It was art like this. Art like this, where I am painting what I'm feeling. Here's a story. I made these paintings before I even realized I was trans, and I don't know if you could see them, but it's a male and a female body pulling apart at the waist, where them genitals are at, and there's sort of like skin and bones, and anyway, it was just, I did not know I was trans. Could somebody tell me? Could you just... Anyway, so I realized that making art like this was taking the pain that I was feeling and making it into something physical. Something that I could point at and be like, look, this is what I'm feeling, this is what it is. It exists in the real world. And it also gave me that feeling of strength, because it was sort of like all this pain being inflicted on me, all these things, I was able to take them and make them into something. I was able to conquer them. The same feeling that I had inflicting pain on myself and being like, look how strong I am, look at what I could endure. It was the same thing. Look how strong I am, look at how much I could endure, and look at what I could turn this into. And that's it. That was it. I stopped self-harming because making these powerful pieces was more effective than self-harming was. And it just makes me feel better, I guess. I don't know. Whenever I feel the urge to self-harm, I'll start drawing. And it doesn't matter how dark the drawing is. Oftentimes, it's really weird. I'll always start with a sort of like skeletal figure. I don't know what exactly that represents for me. I do have some ideas, because a lot of it is self-conscious. It's not like all of this is, I mean, it's deliberate, but it's not like it's consciously deliberate. Oftentimes, it's like coming from a place that I don't even recognize at the moment, and only in retrospect could I say, oh, well, obviously that's where that was coming from. So oftentimes, I'll start with a skeletal figure, and what I think that means is it's sort of stripping me of all the layers of my identity. A lot of it does have to do with dysphoria. It's sort of like, you know, piece by piece you take things away from me, and at which point do I stop becoming male or female? I don't know. Anyway, it's just, there's something about the skeleton that's like the bare base of an identity, and it's sort of like you build up from there. So for me, I would start with the skeleton and sort of build onto that. What was I feeling? What did the flesh look like on that? How does the body grow over that skeletal figure? So the skeleton is me. The very base of my identity, the very base of my feelings. And then the way that the skin will interact with that. Is the skin intact? Is it torn? Is it sticking together? Is it sticking to something? Is it splitting into something else? Is it branching into something new? Are there things growing from the skeleton? All of those layers. That's even if I don't have any creativity at the moment, I will start with the skeleton, and all of this will come out. So for me, that's my go-to when I'm not feeling well. I mean, for someone else it might be something different, but it's just, you know, if you want to go ahead and try that, you could try that. Maybe it'll help, but I don't know. I don't know if this is helping anyone. I don't know if it's just like maybe interesting information to you, but that is how I stopped. Because I realized where it was coming from, and I realized that there were other ways to achieve those same feelings for me. That's it. I hope this was, I mean, if not helpful, I hope it was at least interesting to someone. Love you guys, and I really appreciate you hanging in there with me, and I always feel like what I make isn't good enough, and this is why I sometimes go weeks at a time without posting anything, but I'm gonna just go ahead and post this. Hope you enjoy your week, and I hope you're all doing really well. Take care of each other.